Late at night in a towering skyscraper, silence filled the grand boardroom. The cleaning staff had long gone, except for one man, Carlos, the janitor, who carefully mopped the marble floors. In a quiet corner sat his 9-year-old daughter, Maya, legs crossed, her tiny hands delicately moving chess pieces on a worn-out board. The chess book beside her was frayed at the edges, its pages marked with pencil notes and love. While her father worked late to support their small family, Maya used the time to challenge herself with puzzles most adults couldn't solve. Just then, the heavy glass doors opened. In walked Mr. Blake Harrington, the wealthy CEO of the company, impeccably dressed, known for being sharp, efficient, and distant. He paused mid-stride, noticing the little girl immersed in thought. Curious and amused, he approached. "Wanna play a quick game, little one?" he asked, expecting an easy win, something light to pass the time. Maya looked up, her expression calm yet confident. She nodded. Carlos, startled, began to apologize, but Harrington waved it off with a chuckle. He pulled up a chair, loosened his tie, and sat across from her. In his world of billion-dollar deals and polished executives, this small, quiet girl seemed worlds apart. What he didn't know was that Maya, the janitor's daughter, was about to turn his assumptions, and maybe even his heart, upside down. The game was on, but the real play had just begun. The boardroom, bathed in soft moonlight, had become a quiet battleground. The city buzzed far below, but inside, only the soft click of chess pieces filled the air. Mr. Harrington began the game with ease, confident in his abilities. But Maya, calm and focused, countered every move with startling precision. Her fingers moved gracefully, as if she'd been playing for decades. Harrington's relaxed smirk slowly disappeared. His brow furrowed. For moves passed, then on the fifth, she looked up and softly said, "Checkmate." He froze. Staring at the board, disbelief washed over his face. "Wait, how did you?" he muttered. At that moment, Carlos re-entered, carrying his cleaning cart. His face paled when he saw them. "I'm so sorry, sir." "She didn't mean," he began, rushing forward. But Harrington raised a hand to stop him, still fixated on the board. "Where did she learn this?" he asked, voice quiet with awe. Carlos looked at Maya, pride and humility in his eyes. "From books people throw away, sir." There was a long pause. Harrington glanced at the girl again. This wasn't just luck. This was brilliance. A genius sitting quietly in the shadows, playing with discarded knowledge. In that moment, something shifted. A door opened, not just on the board, but in Harrington's heart. The next morning, Harrington sat in his sleek, glass-walled office, but his mind wasn't on numbers or mergers. It kept drifting back to the little girl who beat him at chess like it was nothing. Maya. There was something extraordinary in her quiet confidence, something he couldn't shake. He asked his assistant to bring her in again, this time for a real test. She sat across from a top-level AI chess program designed by the company's engineers. Within minutes, she dismantled it, calmly and effortlessly. The room fell silent, except for the hum of the computer admitting defeat. Stunned, Harrington began to ask questions. How could someone so young be so sharp? He started looking into her background. What he found humbled him. Her mother had passed away when Maya was just 4. Her father, Carlos, worked 2 jobs to keep food on the table. They lived in a cramped apartment, surviving paycheck to paycheck. No internet. No formal coaching. Only borrowed books and pure determination. For a man who had spent his life chasing profits, the story hit him like a tidal wave. In that moment, the walls of privilege and wealth around him seemed suddenly hollow. Maya had been given nothing. And yet she had everything that mattered. Looking out over the city skyline, Harrington whispered to himself, "Genius like hers deserves the world." And for the first time in years, he felt a purpose beyond the balance sheet. The cramped apartment was dimly lit, the evening quiet broken only by the hum of the old ceiling fan. Maya sat on the floor, scribbling chess moves in her notebook when her father walked in, holding a large envelope with trembling hands. He opened it slowly, eyes scanning the letter inside. For a moment, he stood frozen. Then tears began to fall. "Maya," he whispered, kneeling beside her. "It's a scholarship. A full one." She blinked, confused. "To where?" He smiled through his tears. "The National Chess Academy. The best in the country. They're offering everything, a mentor, a place to live, even support for me. All because of you." Maya looked up, wide-eyed. "Did I do something wrong?" Carlos shook his head, pulling her into a hug, holding her tighter than ever. "No, baby. You just changed our lives." In that tiny apartment, surrounded by worn-out furniture and hope, something magical had happened. The future no longer felt like a struggle, it felt like a gift. One born not from privilege, but from brilliance, determination, and a chance encounter that revealed the power of unseen potential. 1 year later, the Grand Hall of Harrington's company buzzed with energy as students, innovators, and families filled the space for the annual Youth Tech Summit. At the center stage stood Maya, now confident, polished, and beaming, wearing a simple dress and a chess piece pendant around her neck. Beside her stood Mr. Harrington, no longer just the CEO, but her mentor and biggest supporter. The crowd hushed as Maya stepped up to the microphone. "Someone once played a game with me thinking it was just for fun," she began, her voice clear and steady. "But that one small act opened 1,000 doors. It didn't just change my life, it reminded someone else that the smallest kindness can be the most powerful move of all." The audience erupted into applause, some rising to their feet. From the side of the stage, Harrington watched with quiet pride. His tailored suit still crisp, but his demeanor had softened. He didn't see just a prodigy, he saw a future leader, born from struggle, lifted by chance, and now soaring because someone had taken the time to see her. As Maya stepped back, she looked over at him with a grateful smile. Harrington returned it, not like a powerful executive, but like a man who had finally learned what real legacy means. "Kindness," he whispered to himself, "is the best move you'll ever make."